Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one, even though we're in Japan, we are going to head back to Denmark, and this is a beer that I picked up at the new Mikkeller bar in Copenhagen airport. I tried this one on tap, I thought it was really good. It was two of my favourite Danish breweries, and I thought, well, you know, I need to get a bottle of this and review it for you guys here on the channel. So for this one, we are going to do a collaboration beer that Mikkeller did with Ebeltoft GårdBryggeri, who are from Copenhagen on Øland, the mainland part of Denmark. So this one is called Jumper Cables. It's a double IPA coming in at 11% ABV, mainly Galaxy hops in this one from what I understand, and yeah, I can tell you that this one is a very nice beer. So really looking forward to doing a bit more of a kind of thought about tasting on the channel for you guys with this one, and I hope you guys enjoy my take on this beer. So anyway, as is usual with my reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the breweries. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews that I've done, both from Ebeltoft GårdBryggeri and from Mikkeller. No doubt there will be more from both in the fairly near future. There's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel, of course, has a geography-based tagging system, so you can go into the homepage and search for beer based on country, city, state, county, prefecture, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlists of beers from different countries. There is one there for all the Danish beers that I've reviewed for you. That's constantly being added to, and as always, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys that are watching the videos, and the support that you show the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about Ebeltoft GårdBryggeri first off then, since these guys are the home brewery. On to my brewery notes. So Ebeltoft GårdBryggeri are based on a farm in Ebeltoft on the Djursland Peninsula near Randers and Aarhus on mid-Øland, which is the mainland part of Denmark, the bit that's connected to Germany. But the owner of the brewery is Peder Zacho Hansen, who was originally a mechanical engineer, but he later decided to become a brewer, and he was completely self-taught actually, which is quite impressive. And as the name suggests, this brewery is located in an old farm complex. Gård, of course, in Swedish, Danish, and I believe Norwegian as well, is farm. And this has been converted, and it's found just on the edge of the Mols Bjerge National Park. But in addition to beer, the brewery also produce cider, they do bottled water as well, and Peder's brother Christian also works with the company importing different types of coffee, which I think is very cool. So the brewery has a small cafe on site where you can drink the beers and enjoy views of the Kattegat, which is a little area of sea between Denmark and the southwestern coast of Sweden, and that of course is where the TV series Vikings is set. You know, they're always fighting over Kattegat, which is kind of cool. So yeah, really interesting brewery, this one. I've had two very good examples of German beers from those guys recently. You know, I had a Helles and a Doppelbock, and that made me convinced that, you know, they had almost a, you know, I think one of their brewers is German trained, or might well just be German, because those two beers were ridiculously close to what you would expect of, you know, like the Munich Doppelbocks and the Munich Helles and things like that. So I wouldn't be surprised if either their brewer's been trained in Germany or he is actually German, because I know they had an American brewer for a little while as well who developed the Raw Power IPA for them, which is another very good beer. But yeah, if you're interested in Danish beers, Ebeltoft GårdBryggeri are one of the smaller producers, but they're doing some really excellent stuff. I really would recommend that you try some of their beers if you get the chance to. But yeah, that's all you need to know about Ebeltoft GårdBryggeri. So now let's go and take a look at Mikkeller. If you want to know a little bit more about Ebeltoft, of course, you can check out the brewery website in the description below, and you can follow them on Facebook and Instagram and things like that, and keep up to date with everything that is going on. So anyway, on to Mikkeller then. So Mikkeller, as you might know, are the famous Danish gypsy brewery. They were founded originally by Christian Keller and Mikkel Bjergsø, although it's now run exclusively by Bjergsø, who used to be a physics and maths teacher. Christian Keller, of course, went to work for one of the big magazines in Copenhagen. I forget if it was the Soundhouse magazine or something that it was called. He didn't want to produce lots of different beers, but wanted to have a core range, and Mikkel wasn't so much into that. But again, these guys are very influenced by the American craft beer movement, and they basically started out as the homebrewing experimentations of Christian and Mikkel and just grew from there. For a long time they didn't have their own brewery, but they brewed a variety of host breweries. This is the whole idea behind gypsy brewing, but they were brewing in America, they were brewing in Norway, Scotland, Belgium as well. Most of their beer is actually produced at the De Proef Brouwerij at Locrista Heefte near Ghent in Belgium, but their home base as such is the Mikkeller bar in Copenhagen. And they also have another bar in collaboration with Toil, whose founders are former students of Mikkeller's. I believe it's Tore Gainter and Tobias Emil Jensen who started up that brewery, but their beers are very, very good as well. In April 2016 though, they took over AleSmith's former brewery in San Diego when they moved to a larger space, and in 2017 they also announced that they would establish a brewery at Citi Field, which is home of the New York Mets over in New York. So they do have a West Coast operation and an East Coast operation in America now, even though they are a Danish company. But they also have a location in Copenhagen now called Baghaven, where they experiment with different sour beers and stuff. They've also got Warpigs, which is a collaboration brewery with Three Floyds, who are from Munster over in Indiana. That's somewhere that I really do recommend that you check out. They've also got their 2 ramen restaurants in Copenhagen as well, which are called Ramen Tobiru, and the ramen there is pretty authentic compared to the stuff that you would get here in Japan. And they've got various bars around the world, you know, Barcelona, Berlin, Warsaw, Bucharest, Stockholm. I've been to the Stockholm one. There's one in Reykjavik, Tórshavn in the Faroe Islands, one in Tokyo, which I think we're going to visit this time, one in Seoul, Taipei, Singapore, and they've got various different ones in Copenhagen, as I mentioned, a couple of different places in San Diego, and also in Bangkok as well. So, you know, quite a prolific brewery in terms of making bars and things like this. And, you know, they've got some really pretty good beers, but they're very, very experimental, and you can always get something that's very, very interesting from them. I've got another interesting Mikkeller beer that I bought at the bar at the same time as this one that I'll review for you at some point soon. So yeah, keep an eye out for that one in the coming couple of videos. But yeah, that's all you need to know about Mikkeller. Again, you can check them out you can check out their brewery website if you want to learn more, and follow them on Facebook and Instagram and things like that, and that'll keep you up to date with all the different beers that they're releasing. You know, they've got a crazy amount of different beers that they're releasing, so yeah, just keep an eye on that. But yeah, let's get on to the actual tasting of the beer then. You've heard everything you need to know about both of the breweries. So like I said to you at the start of the video, this one is an 11% double IPA. It's hopped with Galaxy from what I understand, mainly Galaxy hops in this one, so a nice big tropical hit this, and yeah, it's got some of the typical Mikkeller artwork on this one. One thing I would say about this, at 11%, this one I guess is on the very, very edge of what you could call a double IPA. I don't actually know why this one wouldn't be a triple IPA rather than a double IPA. I don't really know what the definition between the two is, because I thought if it was over 10%, that's really when you should be starting to call it a triple IPA, or maybe it's over 12%. I'm not overly certain actually. So yeah, just keep that in mind when you're drinking this beer. It is a little, I would say it's probably a little bit more along the lines of a triple IPA. If you drink too much of it, it will get you very, very drunk. But yeah, there's a little quick look at the Ebeltoft bottle cap on this one. I always like the Ebeltoft bottle cap. I've got a couple of these, so I don't need to keep this one. But yeah, let's get it out and we'll get on with the tasting then. Really looking forward to this. Yeah. There we go. So let's get it out and into the glass. So as you can see, really nice, big, hazy beer, this one. Look at that. And you can see I've got my new Mino beer glass that I picked up when I went to the Mino beer brewery here in Osaka. You will see me review my first Mino beer in this one, probably in the next video actually. It's in the fridge, cooling down. But yeah, really nice looking beer, this one. As you can see, big, bright, I would say yellow colour more than anything else. Definitely a big sort of tropically, almost pineapple juice colour, this beer, which is again pretty much what you'd expect. So this one is most definitely a New England type IPA. If I put my fingers behind the glass there, you can see not transparent at all, completely hazy, this one. Little tiny bit of head on this one. I maybe didn't pour it aggressively enough, or maybe it's just a little touch too cold. But yeah, one or two big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass on this one, and a few little ones heading up towards the surface of the beer. You can just see that as you kind of sugar the beer around. But yeah, very, very nice looking beer. Not overly surprising, nothing particularly surprising about this one in terms of its appearance. You know, it's in the right colour range, it's got the kind of right colour of head that you'd expect. It's hazy. That's what you would want from a double IPA or a New England type style IPA. So yeah, let's take a closer look at the aroma and just see how we get on with this one. Ooh, yeah. Now, this one straight away you're getting these lovely tropical fruit notes that you would expect of the Galaxy. Lovely big passion fruit notes. Definitely a nice little bit. Yeah, definitely a nice little bit of pineapple coming out of this one as well. Maybe a little bit of an apricot or an orangey note in there too. I do wonder, there's probably another hop in there other than Galaxy, I would think. But yeah, but definitely passion fruits, pineapples. I think there's a little touch of an apricot note in there. You can smell with the malt base as well. The malt base has a nice oaty creaminess to it. There's a little bit of a biscuity sweetness as well, definitely. In terms of the floral, grassy side of things, there is an element of a slightly spicy floral character to this beer. But mainly those kind of floral components of the hops are, it's leaning towards the grassy side of things, which is quite nice. So the beer does smell very, very fresh. So it's mainly a little bit of tropical fruit and a bit of a lighter kind of grassy feel that you're getting out of this one. But yeah, smells very, very nice, this. As I always say, take a little bit of time and enjoy the aroma of the beer before you get stuck into it. But I would say, one thing I would say about this beer is that the aroma isn't overly pungent. It's not jumping out of the glass at you. It's quite you do have to go in and kind of take your time to smell the aroma rather than having it jump out at you. When I opened up the bottle, of course, as well, it didn't just, you know, kind of fly out at you, which is interesting. So yeah, take a little bit of time and enjoy the aroma of the beer before you get stuck into it. But let's have a taste of this one now. So this one is the Jumper Cables, an 11% double IPA from Ebeltoft GårdBryggeri near Randers and Aarhus, and Mikkeller, who are of course originally from Copenhagen. Lovely Danish beer, this one. Let's get stuck in then. Slange, skål. Yeah, it's a monster of a beer, this one. And it's kind of interesting too, because one thing I've always said about these about the New England style generally, one thing I've always found is that if you go above 8.5% ish with this beer, you usually, with these New England beers, you really have to put in a little bit more to the malt base than simply oats and pale malt and things like that. And you know, some people put a few other couple of things in there. I always find you need to put just a little bit of caramel in there just to kind of almost soak up the booze and stop the beer having a little bit of that burn. But this one actually, you know, does it really quite well. I think they will be putting something else. There's not caramel in this one, I don't think. But there's something else in here that's covering the alcohol in this, because as I say, I was noticing that with some of the brewski beers. I was having some of the brewski beers from Helsingborg, and they were doing double IPAs around 8.5%, and then there were ones coming beyond that were getting a little bit up into, you know, the sort of 9% category, and you could feel a little bit of the booze in them. But with this one you can't actually, so I wonder if that's something that, you know, maybe brewers are realising a little bit, is you have to put, above a certain percentage, you would have to put a little bit of a slightly sweeter malt in there just to cover the alcohol actually. But yeah, that's nice. This one really is nice with how everything goes together. So let's try and break this down a little bit. So the middle of your palate, you can feel this nice pale malty quality. That just blankets the middle of your tongue. The malt base actually sweetens up a little bit the further into the aftertaste with this one you go. But yeah, you can feel there's pale malt in there. There is an element of a biscuity quality in there. I think there's maybe a little teeny bit of caramel right in the centre of your palate. But you've also got a very nice kind of, you also have a very nice biscuity quality to this beer as well. When you go out from the centre of your palate where that caramel is, that you can feel the biscuity notes just pushing their way out. And as I say, the malt base of this one for me sweetens up the further and further into the aftertaste that you go. But you can also feel that oaty creaminess, that sort of caramelly and biscuity quality that I'm talking about sits on top of that kind of creamier character that you get from the malt base in this one, or from the oats, sorry, I should say. yeah, there's definitely a tiny little bit of caramel or biscuity or things, and that slightly sweeter edge, as I said, with these New England beers, that does help cover the alcohol. Actually, with the West Coast IPAs, you don't need to worry about that so much, because you usually do have like Vienna malts or caramalts or things like that in there, you know. But yeah, the malt base in this one is really nice. As I say, I like how it's very smooth when it starts out, and it just gradually sweetens up a little bit the further into the flavour of this beer that you go. On the hoppy side of things then, back corners of the palate, there's a teeny little bit of earthiness there, quite minimal though, but as you come further forward along the sides of the tongue, you can feel it's got a nice little bit of that sort of spicy, floral aromaticity to it. You can definitely feel that coming forward along the sides of your tongue, and then round the very front curve of the palate, it's just a little bit lighter and more grassy, I would say. Yeah, that's nice. And when you just go behind the front curve of the palate too, that's when you're getting that nice oily bubble where those juicy fruity esters start to come out of the beer. And for me, this one definitely has an element of, it's passion fruit all the way. You know, it's got a lovely passion fruity base to it, and that's what you would expect of the Galaxy hops. I do think there's a little touch of an orange in here or something. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a little bit of mosaic in this one too, just with the way the oranges are coming out, because I can pick up an almost blueberry flavour as well, and those would be the two signs that there's a little bit of there's mosaic in there. You look for the tangerine oranges, but you also look for a little bit of an almost blueberryish flavour, so I wouldn't be surprised if there's a little bit of mosaic in this one as well. But yeah, nice, it's definitely got a nice passion fruity base. The passion fruit, of course, is a little bit of the flavour of passion fruit I find is almost just a little bit darker than some of the other ones. It's the same with grapefruit. Passion fruit I find is somewhere in the middle of that dark, almost sour grapefruit flavour, and then the light, it's somewhere in the middle of that and the lighter tropical fruits that you get. But yeah, lovely passion fruity flavours. When you go further into the aftertaste, it evolves to be a little bit more of a slightly pineapple thing, and I want to say that there's a little touch of an apricot-y vibe to this beer as well, to be honest. Yeah, I do want to say there's a little apricot-y vibe to this one too, and maybe even a little bit of mango or something further into the aftertaste you go. Those orangey flavours that I was talking about are quite minimal, to be honest, and the more and more I drink of this beer, I am questioning if what I said about the mosaic being in there is right, but there is something there on the front curve of the tongue. There is just a little bit of a almost berryish fruit, which is quite interesting, just right on the very front tip of your tongue. But the fruity notes, as I say, passion fruit, pineapple definitely coming out of this beer as well. Also a little bit of like a mango apricot-y kind of thing too, and maybe just a little touch of orange and blueberry coming out of this one, which would be a sign that perhaps there is a little bit of mosaic in there. But yeah, really interesting beer, this one. As I say, in terms of its flavour profile, pretty much what you would expect, but again, when it's Ebeltoft and Mikkeller, it's just a very well executed beer. So I'm going to give this one a big thumbs up once again. At 11%, it covers its alcohol very well as well. So let's talk about the mouthfeel a little bit with this one. For me, mid-bodied beer, carbonation's very smooth. Overall, the mouthfeel, it is leaning towards that creamy side of things, which is what you would expect of a sort of New England IPA. It's got a little touch of an oily quality to it. Maybe that's just due to the alcohol, 11%. I think this is actually the strongest New England beer that I've ever reviewed for you. I did have a triple New England IPA from Stigbergets at one point. Actually, that was at one of the beer bars in Copenhagen. That's probably the strongest one that I've drank, but this is the strongest one I've reviewed on here. Nice little bit of hoppy bitterness to this one. Again, I think the IBUs in this are about 30, maybe 40 at a push, to be honest with you. Nice juicy fruity quality to this one. The malt base has a good balance between that smooth creamy note and the slightly sweeter notes. I think the malt base sweetens up the further into the aftertaste you go, but overall this is just this beer, it's one of these ones that doesn't really do anything surprising within the New England IPA style. But it's just very, very well done, and you know, it's 11%, so it is a little bit of a monster. And you know, when you've got two breweries like this involved, you would expect a good beer. That's what they've produced. You know, it's not surprising that they've done a good job here with this one, and I certainly wouldn't hesitate to drink this again. But at 11%, it's definitely not a session one. This is one that you try to enjoy the taste of. So yeah, let's leave it at that for this one. So this one was the Jumper Cables, a collaboration double IPA at 11%, so nearly a triple IPA from Ebeltoft GårdBryggeri and Mikkeller from Copenhagen. So yeah, Ebeltoft, of course, from Midtjylland, the mainland part of Denmark. But yeah, lovely, lovely beer, this one, and I'm really glad that I was able to review it. So I hope you guys have enjoyed my take on this one. If you like the Galaxy hop, if you like you know, if you like Simcoe as well, if you like these big passion fruity flavours and a sort of tropical fruit New England IPA, this is one I think that you are definitely going to enjoy. So let's leave it at that. So once again, thank you for watching my beer reviews. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comment section below. Let me know what your favourite beers are from Mikkeller and from Ebeltoft as well. I'm sure I'll return to both of these breweries in the near future, but make sure you have a go at this one if you get the chance. It's really cool actually to see that these guys did a really nice collaboration. So once again, thank you for watching, and I will catch you guys very soon. The Jumper Cables double IPA at 11% with Galaxy hops from Ebeltoft GårdBryggeri and Mikkeller, both from Denmark. Until the next time, slange just now, skål.